Okay, today we've got. Well, it's not necessarily a bad movie. It's not necessarily a good movie either. It's just a superhero movie called The Green Hornet. I thought this was going to be a very fun movie, and in many ways it is fun. But it suffers from some of the tropes that I'm getting absolutely sick and tired of lately, and it's just. Every time I see it in a movie, I just groan, I roll my eyes, and I'm like, why do you keep doing this? It's like you're insulting me. You're insulting my intelligence. You're insulting the viewer. And it's just. And what I'm talking about is normally when you have a movie with like the superhero and the partner sidekick who's actually far more competent than the superhero thinks that they are, and halfway through the movie they have to have some sort of tension. They have to have a falling out. They have to have a fight. And then they separate and they go their own ways. And then the superhero gets into some trouble, and then he realizes just how much he misses his partner. That has been done to death. I'm sorry. It was tired from the first time it happened. Well, okay, fine. Admittedly, the first time it happened, it might have been new, it might have been fresh, but after the 100th, the 1000th time, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing it. And the way it happens in this one is so stupid. And maybe the stupidity part is part of the joke, but it's not funny to me. Because you have to understand, and I have to understand, that comedy is one of the most subjective forms of entertainment. It is. A joke could be like bust a gut laughter inducing to somebody, and it may cause the person sitting next to them to groan, to frown, to facepalm. I'm the person face palming to the joke. Now, the story has Seth Rogen's character, and for the most part, he's fine. He really is. He really is fine for the most part. And I love the dynamic between him and his partner for the most part. For the most part. Seth Rogen is the son of a newspaper journalist tycoon who is one of the last independently owned newspaper agencies in the country. Which is another thing I could rant about. We need more independently owned things. I'm tired of all this other stuff. But that's another rant for another day, for another time, or never. But I'm glad there's some independently owned things here. I like that this is an independent paper, and that this dude is like the guy's father is like this no-nonsense dude that has built this paper, or his father built the paper. He's inherited the paper. He's running the paper. Blah blah blah. There's nobody else telling him how to run it, and that's great. It's a nice thing. And then the film opens with this guy dying. After we get a couple scenes with him interacting with his son, played by Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen is basically a burnout. He has been burned out in society, burned out about all this other stuff, burned out responsibilities and all that stuff. That's really understandable. And that's a really relatable thing, right? And so when the father dies and he inherits the paper, he goes to the top executive at the paper and says, you know what, run this thing however you want, I don't care. And because he doesn't want the responsibilities, he still wants to own it, but he doesn't want the responsibilities. So he lets the guy run it however he wants to run it, and he goes off to hang out at his place. And then he realizes that his coffee is no longer prepared the way he likes it. So he goes to ask the maid, because he fired almost everybody that his father employed. He asks the maid, who makes his coffee? And so she tells him it's this guy who works on his cars. And he was like, why does the mechanic make the coffee? Whatever. So he goes to track the mechanic down. And it turns out to be Jay Chow here. And he is this savant master genius. He's basically the Bruce Wayne genius head who lived his own comic book origin life somewhere else, and then he came here, started working for Seth Rogen's father, making the coffee and all of that stuff. And it's fantastic. It's a fantastic character. It's a fantastic little twist, is that Seth Rogen would be this person but instead it's the mechanic, it's the help who is this person instead. He's the one who makes all of the gadgets, he's the one who made the cars, all the cool stuff, he's the one who makes the superhero stuff, he's the one that makes the superhero weapon, he does everything. Seth Rogen is just there. He's just this bumbling dude in a mask. And that is funny in and of itself. On paper, it is funny. But there are a lot of things that happen in it that prevent it from being as funny as it could be. Seth Rogen has to Seth Rogen, and his comedy is very subjective, and his comedy works sometimes for me. I love Pineapple Express. That's a very funny movie, but here it doesn't work as well. He fumbles with his words a lot, like where, for example, when he brings Jay Chow to his paper, and he says, "This is my partner, no, not my partner, not in that way, no, not my partner," and he's fumbling over it. That's not funny to me. It's not funny to me. I'm just sitting there waiting for him to get on with it, waiting for this scene to continue, and I'm just sitting there with a bored face, waiting for things to continue, because this isn't funny. And that's not me ripping on this to say that this isn't a funny movie, because, like I said, comedy is subjective. It is. It's the most subjective form of entertainment ever written, which means this scene could be causing somebody out there to bust their gut laughing, and if it is, then the joke worked for them. It just didn't work for me. And I didn't find most of the times when he was fumbling over his words like this to be funny. I just didn't find it funny. I thought it was too low type of humor. It's just not my type of humor. It's just not that entertaining to me. There's some parts that I do find entertaining. For example, the help being the very competent, very, very good martial arts master. This guy is the superhero that the film would actually have needed. This guy would be the actual superhero. He's just the guy getting in the way. Though he's the one who actually convinces him to join him on this endeavor. Which, that is funny. It is. And I don't doubt that Seth Rogen is a nerd. He is a complete nerd. He loves comic books and superheroes and all that stuff. And he's one of the writers on this. So I can respect that side of him. I can definitely respect the nerd side of Seth Rogen. It's just the comic comedian side of him that I don't find that funny. I can respect everything else, though. It's very decently made in this regard. The superhero aspects, outside of some really tired tropes, are pretty good. It's just some of the extremely tired tropes, I don't know if they're just parodying things that have happened in other movies, but because it's a parody of a thing that I already didn't like, I still didn't like it. There's a girl who he hires to be his secretary because he's attracted to her, but she's not attracted to him, and then he's attracted to her, and she's a little bit attracted to him, and he's jealous of that triangle. He's trying to cause that triangle. He's trying to downplay the guy over here because he's very, very self-sensitive, even though he's the bumbling buffoon and he's the competent guy. It's very much kind of trying to pull that type of joke that you'd see in Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century, with Daffy being the complete buffoon and Porky Pig actually being far more competent than the show is letting on, and that Daffy's trying to do something, he completely fails, and Porky does it and it completely works, and then Daffy takes the credit for it. That's kind of how it happens here, but Seth Rogen doesn't have the charm of Daffy Duck. He doesn't have that charm, that way of delivery that Joe Alasky, who voices Daffy Duck in Duck Dodgers, would deliver. It's not working in this setup for me. But I can appreciate what they're trying to do. I can really appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. It's just not working for me. And so another one of the tired tropes is obviously the tension. The love triangle. The triangle. There is no triangle, really. She's not attracted to him at all. He's just attracted to her. And then these two are work friends and all that stuff. So, he ends up making a present for him as a show of gratitude for giving him a second chance and all of this stuff to make all the cool gadgets and things like that. He makes him a gun, like a trademark weapon for the Green Hornet. And Seth Rogen was like, why do I get to have a gun? Why do I need to have a gun? Aren't I a badass? Blah, blah, blah. Ego. He's pulling the Joe Alasky Duck Dodgers huge ego trip, but it's just not working here. At least not for me. It's not working for me. So he gets upset about this, and he's like fumbling with the gun, trying to see how it works, and he fires the gas into his face, and he falls unconscious into a coma for 11 days. And during that 11 days, Jay Chow and the secretary, played by Cameron Diaz, get close. They don't really start dating, but they get close. And when Seth Rogen finally wakes up, he hates that. He hates this attention, and they have a fight. There's an artificial fight. You can tell that Jay Chow is holding way back out of politeness to Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen is the one who's trying to start the fight to begin with, and every time he tries to punch him or anything, Jay Chow's just like swatting the attacks aside like he's just a baby. He's treating him like he's a baby, and I didn't find this scene funny. I didn't find it funny. I found it groan-inducing. It's just, So after the fighting, after they have their little fight, the villain, who is actually pretty entertaining, is played by Christoph Waltz, and it's a very, very entertaining villain. He's like this old school villain who realizes he's old news, and he's like, I need to find a new way to be scary to these young whippersnappers today. And so he tries to find a new way to reimagine himself as a crime boss, and he calls himself Bloodnovsky, even though his name is Chudnovsky. And so everybody thinks that's a dumb name, and so he just kills everybody who thinks it's a dumb name until his subordinates start thinking it's a cool name. It's cool, yeah, it's cool. And so Bloodnovsky goes off against the Green Hornet when they have a fight and all that stuff. And then Jay Chow ends up making up with Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen apologizes to Jay Chow. As you would expect, tired trope, yawn-inducing trope, groan-inducing trope. After that, though, after the dumb, incredibly dumb trope, and after they've made up, the film gets back on track and is much better. And the car is fantastic. I love the gadgets in the car. I love the action set pieces with it running into all sorts of things. I love there's like a gun on the car doors. Like you literally open the door and there's a bunch of barrels on the car door and he fires it. I love that. I love the fact there's the ejector seats, all these Gatling guns, and all sorts of flamethrower coming out of here. There's all sorts of gadgets on this thing that Jay Chow put into this truck just as a hobby. He used to do this as a hobby, man. And he just puts this all into this truck. He made 7 of these cars in the 11 days that Seth Rogen was unconscious. He just made 7 of these massive, whatever they are. I wouldn't be surprised if this film was actually super successful and they made a sequel, that he would actually make a mech out of these cars. He'd actually make a mobile suit, and it would just be commonplace. I like that type of humor. I like that type of idea with what they're doing with the superhero shtick. I like that. It's just the other attempts at humor with Seth Rogen trying to make word fumbles or the tired tropes they're trying to do. That doesn't work for me. But everything else in this film does work, and I found after they make up, after that dumb part of the story, after they make up, everything else is great. It's fantastic. I love everything else about it. Seth Rogen does play a good character when he's actually trying to be this character, and he's not trying to just be Seth Rogen, making jokes. You know, when he's not trying to do that, he's good. He's really good. But when he's doing that other shtick, it doesn't work for me. But I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying this shtick is bad. I'm just saying it doesn't work for me. Like I said, maybe his joke will make somebody else bust their gut laughing. And if it did, then the joke worked. If it makes just one person out there laugh, then the joke worked. It just didn't work for everybody else. That doesn't make the joke invalid. It's valid for that person who busted their gut laughing. So I just want to put that out there and say that's not bad. It just doesn't work for me. It may not even work for you, or maybe it does work for you. That's what I said, the subjective shtick here. The Green Hornet is still very refreshing in and of itself. I like especially in this tired superhero climate. This is a pretty old movie. I think it's from the 2000s or something. No, 2011. So, well, it's pretty far back there. It's after Avengers, but it's pre-Endgame, you know? So it's when superhero movies were starting to become mainstream hits, but before they became tired. And when you watch a movie like this after they became tired, it kind of feels a little refreshing. It does. It's just, I wish it changed a little things about this. Some of the things just didn't work for me. The Seth Rogen being Seth Rogen, and the shtick with the partners always have to have a fight. They always have to have that. Why? Why do they always have to have a fight? Why does there always have to be an Act 2 tension? They have to split up, and then in the third act, they get back together and they fight. Why? Why is that a thing? Why do you have to do that? Why can't they just be partners through the whole film? They work together through the whole film. You can find different creative ways to create tension without having them split up. That's the tired way. That's the easy way. That's the unoriginal way. Find something else to do without splitting them up like everybody else does. You know, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of superhero stories where the sidekick and the main hero always have to have a fight and then they make up at the end. I'm tired of it. I am. I'm absolutely sick of it. And that's all I've got to say on the Green Hornet. It's a good film. It just has some things that just didn't work for me.